This is a certified hood classic.
Hey now. Well, what do you say we get thrown out of an Applebee's?
All rise, order and accord. It's a new week. It's time to start. Greed is hurting. Look.
Oh, I didn't want to mention it. I just thought it was bad camera work.
It's bad. It's on my knees too.
Ooh, yikes.
I was worried about these because the top of my head all weekend has been really, but I think we're past that now. So good to see everybody. So we got some live protection order stuff happening soon, I believe.
Yeah, I believe they're mounting up over here now. By the way, the case from last week with the wolves and the gates and the trenches, we've got the finale of that. They did not do anything else once they went out last week. Nothing else was done on the case.
So they never came back.
It never came back
until
today. So we'll be watching that tomorrow. And we'll jump over here now and see what exactly is going on. I'm not sure what we have, but TPO stuff going on. What you got?
Someone else a chance to respond and give the information to me. So Ms. Slauson, you're the petitioner. I'll start with you. Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Correct.
Obvious lovers,
you can
right?
Put your hand down.
Obviously.
And how is it you need an order against Mr. Mountjoy Venning?
Mountjoy, what a name.
Okay, so my relationship with Alan has been through my employer. It's a ceramic studio. He was a participant there. I felt that his behavior became obsessive and threatening. Basically, I started to feel unsafe at work, so I reported this to my employer. They had requested he not attend my courses specifically, to which he refused. Over the course of many months and time, he had agreed upon this, but is continuing to make contact. So in November or December, he was asked more formally to not come to Arbutus's property, especially
I'm going to stop you. I apologize. Just so I can put the contacts and the date. Is this November or December of 2022?
Correct. Yes.
Just a few months ago, like less than 6 months ago.
Correct. And my initial reporting of this, my initial report of the behavior occurred in August and the beginning of September of 2022.
Okay.
And so he was more formally requested to stop harassing me at my place of employment, to which he agreed to stop doing, but continued to contact me. He actually showed up at my place of employment with a letter during
handwritten
incidents, please. That would help me.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said if you could put dates on these incidents, that would help me. So
sure.
when he showed
got
up.
2 boxes, Creed. Do you
sure.
like me? Yes or no?
Might be
check one.
Better if you are looking for something more specific here.
Yeah. Well, and we're creating a record here too. Everything's being recorded. So I have reviewed. There was a number of written submissions, both from you and Mr. Mountjoy Venning, which I have reviewed. But for the purpose of creating the record here in the actual hearing, I just want you to put some dates on there as best you can.
Okay.
Go ahead. You may continue.
Okay.
I just got a little attitude, but doesn't mean to.
Okay, so when I reported Alan's behavior to my employer on September 19th, 2022, it was on the heels of an incident that made me believe I was not safe at my place of employment. I was preparing for a course at 8:30 in the morning in which Alan was not an attendee. We were on hot kilns on hot summer days, which leads me to opening our large garage door for cool air to flow in during the morning. Alan appears in the studio shortly after 8:30. I want to emphasize that he was not entering Arbutus for a course to stay and was aware I'd be alone before 9 o'clock. During the course of our relationship, he had asked to pay me many times for my support in converting his garage to a ceramic studio, to which I would either reply that I am busy and can't offer that, or I can give you verbal advice. Today, he came into the studio with a mission to get me to convert his garage into a ceramic studio. He proposed I could teach classes there and he would buy everything. He began to describe that he would buy the pottery wheels, the kilns, and I could teach. But ultimately, in quotes, he was selfishly pursuing this to learn pottery from me. I told him I was not interested in his plan, that I wanted to keep my job, and I began ignoring him. In Alan's words, and this is in quotes from an email he sent.
Shorty says hi.
Only at our very last encounter could I tell she was upset at me. She looked as though she was going to throw my bisqueware pieces in the garbage, and might have had I not reached for them. They would normally have been glazed and fired, so it struck me as strange she was sending them home with me. She told me she was closing down her studio in her mom's garage. When I offered to buy any equipment she wanted to get rid of, she said a rare, angry no. Weird. She doesn't even want to sell me stuff she doesn't want. What is going on here? I want to emphasize here that I did not shut down my studio space at my mom's house. I was not selling any equipment. He did not offer to buy anything for me. He proposed a plan in which he would benefit from my teaching, using money as a way of manipulating me into leaving my job and ultimately forming a dynamic between us on the basis of money. A beloved employee of ours who hosted an open studio at Arbutus before the pandemic described a very similar experience in which Alan would rent a space in downtown Olympia where this instructor could teach and use Alan's financial resources to create a studio space. The pandemic shut Arbutus down, and I was hired during its reopening, where Alan came back and immediately began manipulating me. I believe Alan preys on young artists who have made it known they're looking for a space in the world of art. He swears his intentions are in the name of good conversation and friendship. I'm a 24-year-old woman and you are a 60-year-old man. We are not friends, and he is aware his behavior is inappropriate, which he has made known in many emails I've submitted through evidence.
Oh, she's
I reported
reading
this
for
behavior
sure.
on September 19th.
Oh, yeah.
My employer requested that he not attend my studio sessions. He was able to attend other instructor sessions, but not mine. His initial response was to use unfinished ceramic work as a reason he needed to continue attending the studio space. On 9/27, Alan was asked to drop out of my courses and agreed not to attend the upcoming course, but refused to agree about his future registrations. On 9/30, Alan was asked again not to attend my courses, to which my employer and Alan could not come to an agreement until he emailed my employer later agreeing to stay out of my courses. On 10/3, only a few days later, Alan re-enrolled in my open studio sessions without notifying anyone, to which my employer described as a refusal to drop my courses until he was offered time in our studio.
So I want to be clear here. So he re-enrolled after he agreed?
Correct,
He would not?
sir.
Okay.
Correct.
You can continue.
Now.
When she stops reading, it throws her off.
At this point, our director handed off this issue to our board directors
like,
due to Alan's inability to cooperate. On October 17th, 2022, Alan was formally requested by our board of directors to stay off of Arbutus property. On November 14th, 2022, Alan was banned from Arbutus property and any events hosted or sponsored by Arbutus for 1 year. While this may have felt like the end of this situation, it wasn't. Alan had sworn to my employer he deleted my personal and work emails, but on my personal email, I received a message from Alan informing me of a terminal diagnosis he received that ultimately leads him to requesting my statement I sent to our board of directors on September 13th, 2022 for closure. I reported this contact immediately, but I ignored him and requested we not respond to this attempt to avoid giving him any attention. At this point, he's banned. It was a week before Christmas, and I was planning to meet a student early at 8:30 in the morning to help them finish a project. At this point, Alan's behavior made me jumpy in the studio. I'd ask for a people in our door because we're not able to see who's on the other side. I hear a knock at the door, which I was expecting, so I answer it. But it is Alan, standing outside the door holding a letter, shaking. I only opened the door 3 inches before I snatched the paper and slammed the door shut. No words were shared. My heart was racing. I started a class at 9 o'clock and was preparing to meet a student. This person is banned from my place of employment, yet here he is. I opened the letter to see that it's a printed version of the email he sent me since we did not respond. I reported this to our board of directors, who immediately contacted Alan, threatening more serious legal action. Alan's response of December 21st, 2022 is disturbing, considering at this point he is aware he's banned and continues to defend his actions and even claims he knows how to set boundaries. At this point, it seems plausible that Alan may remain far away from Arbutus for at least 1 year because he states he will consider any contact from Arbutus, i.e. events notifications, as hostile. I'm sorry.
Just slow down a little bit, okay?
Sure. Sorry.
She doesn't even know what to say. She's not even following along.
So
he has no idea.
It seemed like Alan would stay far away from Arbutus. He was very angry in his email response. He considers any contact from Arbutus as hostile provocation. At this time, I requested a peephole to be installed on our exit door, and it was installed. On April 13th, a few months later, while teaching an open studio session, a student walks in to inform me someone taped a card addressed to me on the exit door. I just entered this door and there was no card. I go outside and immediately recognize the handwriting to be Alan's. I opened the card and it's a birthday card. My birthday is the 14th. I immediately start spiraling. My students are trying to encourage me to be excited to receive a card from a secret admirer while I'm sitting in the disgust of knowing exactly who is doing this. I report this to my employer, who began formulating a letter response to Alan. On Monday, April 24th, 2022, I was leaving a shift at the ceramics studio where Alan is sitting outside the front.
Monday, hang on, I apologize. So Monday, what day is this now? You said that April was the card, and then so
April 13th.
After
Yes,
that,
correct. Yes, this is one just over a week after the card incident.
we're talking about
but-
April 20th, more or
No,
less.
but Mountain Joy wanted
Yeah,
to
April
mount something.
24th.
Mountain
Go
Joy
ahead.
was looking for love in all the wrong places.
So just, I guess, to go off of my writing, I'm feeling incredibly unsafe at this
Yeah,
point
just
at my
tell
job.
me what happened on April 24th.
Yes, so
What was in the
I will.
letter?
I'm feeling really
never even
unsafe.
Happy
answered that.
birthday.
Our security at our building is incredibly low. So I was
Low
leaving a shift at the
security.
ceramics studio on Monday, April 24th, and I walk out the front of our doors, and Alan is sitting at the benches outside the coffee roasting company. In my mind, he's very aware of what he's doing here, and I'm scared. I go back through the building. He's also made it very known that he's aware of the shifts that I work. In my mind, if you're sitting outside of the coffee shop at 12:30, when you know I will be walking to my vehicle, and I saw that as threatening to me. So I walked back through the building because I did not want to confront him. And I go to my vehicle and I turn around the block to see that Alan is nearly running to his vehicle. I rolled down my window in a split second and I screamed at him to leave me alone. To which he responded with, "You should have told me that before." And if you've read any of the evidence, he claims that I've never told him to leave me alone. And this is a sword that he has practically died on. But I've had my employer tell you that you're no longer able to be present at the facility that I work at. So to respond to what he said, I said, "We know you gave me the birthday card and you need to leave me alone." And I started to scream so much that I lost my voice.
Oh, wow.
This incident did not last longer than 30 seconds, though he continually, repeatedly said, "You should have told me that before," almost mocking me. I immediately informed my employer of this incident, and they informed him that he is still ordered not to be on Arbutus property and his absence may be extended. I decided to file a protection order on May 3rd, 2022 to ensure my safety at my place of employment. After talking with Safe Place, I started my, and basically I just wanted to say it might be come up later. But I do want to say that I started my position at Arbutus as a very happy person. I have been given an opportunity to connect to people, to teach them a craft that's near and dear to my heart. And it's the dream that I make a living doing what makes me happy. And I treated Alan like anyone else initially. And he did not treat me like other people treat me. His behavior was inappropriate, but now it's unacceptable and threatening my safety at work. I have much more I could say, but ultimately that's where I will end for right now.
I can hear from him, and then if I have some questions, I may come back to you. So,
Okay.
Mr. Mountjoy Venning, could you raise your right hand, please? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do so affirm, Your Honor.
You could put your hand down. What's your response to all of this? I saw you shaking your head from time to time as Ms. Slauson was speaking, so I'll hear from you.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to ask for a continuance because I attempted to have an attorney with me. I have no experience in the court system.
What?
I've never been in this situation at all or any legal situation. I had someone from
look at the
Poker and
judge.
Younglove lined up for a consultant potentially to be here with me, but they withdrew without enough time for me to find another attorney. And
why didn't you say that at the beginning when we
because
got started?
your instructions did not allow me to speak. You had not sworn me in, sir. I followed your instructions.
All right, hang on.
I followed your instructions, which was you would
Okay,
speak 30 seconds.
you've answered the question. Okay, we're going to set it over. I'll give you a chance to get an attorney.
Wow.
Over to a time. Well, which one's the next one?
There won't be one this coming Monday, but the next Monday.
Let's do the 30th. So there is a temporary order in place. Do you understand that, Mr. Mountjoy Venning?
I do understand that, Your Honor, but 1,000 feet in a constricted area like Olympia, if it could be reduced to 500, I am
If it
happy
can be
to stay
reduced
away
to
and never
5
see
feet.
Kate again. I will explain that when I have my attorney. She is.
Okay, so you're not
misperceiving
going to
what's
stop.
going
You're
on.
not going to talk right now. You asked to set it over to get an attorney. I'm going to allow that.
I will do that,
Wow.
Your Honor.
So just.
You
and
just
again,
let her talk for
we-
15
offered to do
minutes.
this. I offered to have dispute resolution with Arbutus, not with Kate, but with Arbutus on this matter, and they refused.
What is Arbutus? Anybody?
Yeah, my impression for everything I've heard and read, that ship's kind of sailed. But what's going to happen here today is I'm going to reissue the temporary order. You folks available on May 30th?
Oh yeah, we'll be here.
I will make myself available, Your Honor. Is
Somebody
it
write that down,
possible
please.
so that I can get through downtown Olympia, that you can reduce it to 500 feet or something?
Is
East, west,
Olympia
and north,
1,000
south,
feet
1,000
across?
feet
I
from
mean,
like City Hall
it's pretty small,
this is Alan playing
I
mind
would
games,
request if you
baby.
can to reduce that to 500 feet. I do not intend to be in contact with
Mind
Ms.
Well,
Lawson
games.
ever.
Mind games.
I don't know why I get this feeling, but like it's a small campus or something, maybe, and that's like a build. I don't know. Yeah, and is she gonna have to do that? Is she gonna have to read all that again when we come back May 30th?
I mean, there's a good chance he's gonna be here, but they've already made it clear there's no court next Monday. I guess that's Memorial Day,
By hell if I know.
something like that.
Oh, I bet it is. Yeah, because well, no, we
You have
can't
an
do
email
that.
address,
Sure.
right?
I
It's
don't
a
know.
Monday because they said, well, we're not gonna
You
be
have an
here.
email address there, Mr. Mountjoy
Next
Venning, we
Monday.
can send this to?
Yes, I do. It's AM
You know how to
Venning.
use the chat function on the,
Oh, damn
Yes,
it.
sir.
on the,
Oh, we almost
you
had.
Yes,
can put it
sir.
into the chat function, then the clerk will get it.
He's probably smart. After hearing all that, he's probably smart to get a lawyer. To
I
be honest.
think that, yeah. I think he thought differently. I think he's full of crap. I think he was going to go forward until he
Yeah.
started hearing all this really bad stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right on that.
She's devastated. I feel bad for her.
Oh, I can tell she doesn't. I think that she's very thrown off.
I'm
Just
sorry.
All right, just for the purposes of reissuing
With
the
him
temporary
on this.
order, Mr. Venning Mountjoy, or Mountjoy Venning, I apologize for mixing that. The parameters of the temporary order are going to remain unchanged. They'll be in existence for the next 2 weeks, and we'll reconvene on May 30th.
I understand. Thank you, Your Honor.
And you'll get both, you'll get a
Don't
Zoom
you worry.
copy.
We'll be here, Mr. Mountjoy.
Or you'll get a, you won't get a Zoom copy. Both of you will get emailed copies of this order.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I presume we will be in, well, I was unable to find out which courtroom to be in. Are they always number 3?
It'll be, I can tell you right now, it'll be courtroom number 3.
Thank you,
Actually,
sir.
wrong. I'm wrong. It's courtroom number 4.
Thank you.
Your
Because
Honor,
normally we always
your-
do it on Monday, and we're required to do these every 2 weeks. And normally we always do it on Monday, but 2 weeks from Monday's a holiday, Memorial Day, so we do it on Tuesday. So we use a different court date.
Oh, so
I
maybe
Your
it's
Honor,
the next Monday.
I have a
ma'am.
question, Your Honor.
Yes.
And obviously I'm not familiar with the court system either, but what is the purpose of like, if he's here right now without a lawyer, what is the purpose of extending this? And especially,
Well, he generally, it is discretionary with
He has
me,
the right
but
to
when
have a
folks
lawyer.
come to court and ask to set over, give some time to get hired an attorney, I allow that generally. And so the purpose is just to allow Mr. Mountjoy Venning, these things happen in a hurry. We have a hurry, we have to set a hearing within 14 days, which we did, which you hear today. And sometimes people get cramped for time and hiring somebody, and just as and in this case, a temporary was entered. That temporary is going to remain. So there's no change in circumstances. I'm not dropping the order. I'm telling you both, there's an order in place. The distance restriction is 1,000 feet. Frankly, I'm not sure exactly where that Artibus, if I'm saying that correctly, where is that located, ma'am?
it's located on 4th Street across from City Hall.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think you can steer
To be
clear of there.
honest, yeah, I just want him to leave me alone. So whatever parameters we can create for that is
Well,
good.
for the next
she'll be
2
fine.
weeks, it'll stay at 1,000 feet. And like if we get to that point, 2 weeks, and it will be me, I will be the judge, so I'll be familiar with it. And we can talk, if an order gets entered, ultimately, we can talk about distance restriction adjustments then.
And Your Honor, you had mentioned earlier that you had received statements from me. And other
did.
than, well, you received her stuff that I mailed to Arbutus. I didn't.
Okay, then I look at that as being from you. If you've said
Thank you, sir.
something, then yes, I got it.
understand.
And I read it all.
And would the court want me to submit something in
You
specific?
know, I'm not, that's one
Okay.
thing, that's what people hire attorneys for, Mr. Mountjoy Venning,
Thank
is
you.
they,
That's what I'm trying
you
to
know,
do. I
some
appreciate
people-
your help.
I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you wouldn't like it if I started telling Ms. Slauson how to run her case, and I can't really tell you what to do. So you can consult with an attorney, and you think you,
That's a great
and if
last
you
name.
end up not getting an attorney representing yourself, which people do all the time, you know, you're going to need to figure out for yourself the best way to present your case.
I appreciate that, Your Honor, and I can assure
Do
you
you
that
really?
Kate has nothing to worry about my being in her vicinity. I am now
Okay.
voluntarily staying away from adjacent businesses, which I did not understand to be part of our agreement.
Super
Okay.
creepy.
Well, okay.
Well, no, I'm under
guess
order,
I'm-
but even before
we're
the
just
order,
gonna-
I wasn't going anywhere near her.
We're going to reconvene on May 30th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And ma'am, you're free to go there, Ms. Slauson. You too, Mr. Mountjoy Venning.
She is not.
And
happy.
again, the last thing I'll say is there's an order still in place.
Thank you.
Chat, just so you know, so he said that next Monday there will be no court. That's
Mr.
why we were.
Freeland and Ms. Joyce.
That's why we were confused. Memorial
Yeah.
Day, I knew was over. Charlotte race is not this coming weekend, a weekend after, which is always over Memorial Day. So that's what we were trying
So
to
this appears to be another neighborhood situation up off of
God,
the Boulevard
fighting.
Road, it looks like.
Stop.
Yes, Your Honor. Can I have it continued because I didn't get to submit anything that I have,
What?
like videos and documentations and stuff.
When were you
What?
served?
I was served on the 5th.
10
last
days ago?
Thursday.
Okay. Give me just a minute.
Okay.
Another one.
Yeah, this is a bit rare when it comes to the protection
Do you thi-
orders. We usually don't.
Yeah.
we're
Do you
not
think
setting
she
stuff off.
saw what happened just then? She's like, man, I'll just ask for continuance too. Shit.
Like,
Give me just a minute, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
There is an order in place, I think. No, there's not. Oh, there's a hearing. Notice a hearing. Okay.
I mean, come on, man. Get your stuff together, people.
yeah, you had all weekend.
Yeah, all weekend. Like she was at the race all
All right.
weekend.
That was 5 days ago, just last Thursday. All right, Mr. How busy is next week? The
Checking the
29th, we had a
schedule.
bunch on the 30th last week.
Maybe we can do it here. No, we can't do it here. Maybe over here.
You
I
folks
don't know.
available next week, a week from today?
Yes.
Mr. Freeland?
No.
I'm sure I would have to check my schedule, but can I speak freely right now for a moment?
Sure.
Yes?
I don't believe it's fair to grant a continuation here, in my opinion. She was served with ample notice and given
He was
plenty
And
served
of
on
ample
the
time.
bosom.
10th, which was 5 days ago, and usually, you know, that's ample service to one. I understand what you're saying. I'm inclined to do it like I did the other person. I'll give people a chance to respond if they want to do it. And there's not an order in place right now, and so I understand that, you know, you're not crazy about that, but I'm generally pretty lenient in that regard the first time. You know, this can't go on forever. It'll need to be resolved here by the end of next week, but you know, and if you were asking the same thing, I'd give you that same deference. But go
Okay.
ahead. If that's your resist, I understand that. I'm sorry?
That was all. Thank you.
All right.
Good try.
And so again, I renew my question, and we can do that. We can set this on next week if no hearing's been. And Ms. Joyce, we have an email for you.
No, I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you. we're just going to reset this hearing 1 week. We'll reconvene then I'll hear from both of you and decide. And again, it will be me. And so I've already reviewed what's been filed and no orders in place. You know, again, it's always my strong.
Yeah,
hope
she
on
did
these
smirk.
neighborhood
She made a like,
situations that folks can work
yeah, I
these
got
things
you.
out, because when this case is over, I leave and walk off the bench, go back to my office, start preparing the next week. You guys have to go home and live next to each other. So you both might
Right.
want to think about that.
Yeah, it's just been harassing since
Okay,
you
just,
found out I was
just
such
stop,
a.
ma'am.
so,
I'm not, wasn't looking
Sorry.
for a
Harassing
response
since
right now.
what?
We'll get into all that
Crowbar.
next
Should
week.
say
That
it.
one in.
Got it.
Quick jab
Okay,
at him.
so we got your email address. We'll see you all 1 week
Yep.
from today.
Thank you so much, Judge. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
And Greg F off, she meant to say.
You're free to
And
leave,
may
then,
I
Mr. Freeland.
Say,
You too, Ms.
Judge,
Joyce.
you look marvelous today.
Your nails, though, they look great, John.
Your Honor, were you doing push-ups in that office when you went back? Because you look ripped.
I think we're done.
It might be.
Yeah.
He wasn't kidding. He's going back to his office, start working on maybe not. Let's see.
I mean, we had to have one with an interpreter that was being set aside. Then we had the Wolves, by the way.
I mean,
part...
these denial, I could say this on the record. I hate these. It's like 7-page denial orders. Drives me crazy.
A lot of people didn't show up too when he read roll this morning.
You can go off the record.
All right, off the record, Creed, onto your record.
So, I since we're at this point, should we do the Wolves, or is that not ready?
We can. You give me a couple minutes to get it together.
See why not? That'd be perfect timing for us to get that. I mean, remember, this is the courthouse where we get to see right into the judge's
crotch,
right into his office, or his balls. Yes, did get to see that. I think it's good to get that in, because then if we got busy tomorrow, and then you know how that goes. If we got time now to see the Wolves.
Now, can you refresh everyone's memory about who the Wolves are?
I'm not the best one to be doing that.
All right, if everybody remembers,
you just know I'm bad at that.
The neighbor, the Wolves are neighbors with this young lady, and there had been an issue. I guess she'd been attacked by their daughter. There's an easement that she has to drive on to get to her property. They put a gate up at that easement. They also dug what she referred to as trenches.
Oh, yes. And the one
across there.
Allegedly, the kid hurt her. Was it her ankle or her foot or something in one of the trenches?
Yeah, it was like World War II out there. They've got trenches, they've got everything, and people are getting hurt. A lot of people were asking us, hey, what happened on that case? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we've got it. They never came back, so we're going to find out.
Yeah, the way
I think we were kind of leaning towards the lady, right? That wanted to harass
because they kind of both had attitude, if you remember. And then it ended. We thought that they were going to come back. We gave it a little bit of time, and then thought they were going to come back a little bit later. Well, it ends up it wasn't until today they came back. But yeah, I was kind of more on not the Wolves side, I should say.
Yeah, they seem to be kind of like a-holes, especially about the trenches and things like that.
And basically letting people do whatever they wanted, like ride quads as fast as they wanted up and down the road. Yet this lady that we'll see here in a minute, who drove more than 5 miles an hour.
5 miles an hour was the posted speed, which most cars, you can take your foot off the gas and it'll probably do 7 or 8 miles an hour.
That's a good point. But he didn't seem to mind anybody else doing any of this, except for her. Like her.
They hated her.
Yeah.
I mean, pure and simple. So we're going to get the continuation and the conclusion of this case as we find out the judge does get a little bit upset. Just a little bit.
Again, I'm not going to go through all the technical difficulties we had last week. Just hope that we don't have them this week. And had you concluded, and I heard testimony, we don't need to go any testimony, and we were at the point where I was hearing from you, and then Mr. Drury indicated he wanted a chance to respond, but I just want to make sure you're done. Is there anything I think I got a pretty good handle of what's going on out there, but if you want to add anything more, you can.
I just think that it's pretty clear that just based on the testimony and everything that we went through, that the actions are targeted at me. And it was pretty clear with the evidence that things are being put in place to harass me with the gate. Having that gate there, it makes it more of a safety concern because I or my children have to constantly get out of the vehicle, which now exposes us to harm with them being present most often than not, or coming right after we close the gate. So it's just more of a safety concern with the hazards that are in the road and then also the gate.
They do.
Mr. Jury?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, there are, two respondents here, considering Marcia's matter first, I did not hear any evidence whatsoever specifically geared towards Marcia. She was not a part of what seemed to be the only new incident that occurred within the last year and a half was this this issue with with both the petitioner and respondent.
Now, remember, they've already heard the case last week against their daughter.
Right.
The protective, not protective order, but her assault. She assaulted the daughter.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
And also, they were saying, because, he's so red down there, the partier, that he's a drunk. Don't be saying that about me. I just went to the NASCAR race in the sun.
He could have been there hanging out with Creed.
I think our shades are very similar, though.
Very similar.
Very similar to that.
Respondent filming each other while petitioner was using a lock breaker to cut my client's chain. But Mrs. Wolf was not part of that. There's no allegations against Mrs. Wolf whatsoever. We just asked that the matter be dismissed against her. Regarding Ronald Wolf, looking at the claims again contained in Miss Hamilton's matters, I've seen these claims now twice before. Again, in that Superior Court matter, those are the exact same claims she brought. Nuisance, interference with easement. She brought those in the correct matter in Superior Court. The court told her before in Stacey Brady's matter, which was a no contact order, just like this in District Court, that those matters were improperly brought. And because the court did not have subject matter jurisdiction over easement disputes, and the court did not entertain those claims. Miss Hamilton had a chance to adjudicate those claims in Superior Court, but that court denied her preliminary injunction, found those speed those speed monitoring devices legit, and she dismissed her case. And now she brings them here again in an improper forum, in an anti-harassment action, still bringing the same claims that they should not be before this court. The other items she mentioned in her petition, damaging the fence, firing shotguns off, and then finally this incident with Ronald Wolf, the most recent incident. I would keep in mind for the court that
thank you, Mayor.
So Stacy is their daughter, and if I just heard him correctly, she was found guilty last week, and there's a protective order between the two of them now. So Stacy has to stay away from her. With mom and dad?
Stacy's mom, does she have it going on?
No, she doesn't. There she is right there, Marcia. You can see her creature. That's her. She's a mother, all right.
Her credibility is a little bit suspect in this matter from our side. I asked her directly, how many times, whether she'd called police 16 or 17 times over the last couple of years, and she just frankly didn't want to answer the question. But she knows the answer. She knows that's about right. And it should 16, 17 times.
Fred?
I believe Fred Franklin gets a hallelujah. Double F.
Don't forget there is a members only today at 5:30 for We Got a Chase channel. I believe the most melons we've ever had will be given and shown today on that show. So make sure you're there. Super melon alert.
Nice.
Super.
Times. And they're almost always against Stacy Brady, my client's daughter. She, for whatever reason, brought in this fence incident where a tree was felled, or a wind knocked over a tree, and then my clients cut the tree up on a neighbor's property. Police investigated that matter. They went and spoke to Miss Hamilton, informed her of their findings that my clients had just removed the tree from their neighbor's property. But frankly, and they were probably right, they would be too scared to go on to Miss Hamilton's to do something like that because she would try to have them arrested.
Wow.
But she knows that. The officers told her what happened, and she still brings that claim here again a year and a half later. And the same thing with the firing shotguns off. I didn't hear much testimony about that, but my clients do not own shotguns. They weren't firing guns, nor do they on their property. Possibly a neighbor. There's nothing developed there, though, in her petition about what occurred or what she's complaining of there. Looking at this garbage can incident, my client's testimony was that, well, it sounds like there's a few incidents regarding this, but my client's testimony, they at one point moved her garbage cans across the road, across to the other side of the driveway, I don't know, maybe 10, 14 feet, somewhere in there, so that they could swerve in with a trailer. Miss Hamilton sees that and calls police over that. And tries to have Stacy Brady again arrested. The whole point of that police report was to try to have Stacy Brady arrested. The officers investigated and determined, it was not harassment, that again, they were executing a lawful purpose there. It's not harassment as long as they're engaging in a lawful purpose. And that's something, frankly, that they should be able to do, and something reasonable.
Thank you, Michael. A lot of trash can moving talk. We've heard this all before. Bringing it back around to that. Let me go ahead and get you guys' opinions. Do you think this is going to be granted, dismissed? What do you think? Get your votes in now on this trial of the century.
The other incident outside the tree issue, I think, was, Mr. Wolf's altercation incident with Miss Hamilton there after Miss Hamilton had cut these chains. Number one, the gate was not locked. She complained that it was maybe too tight, or she was having difficulty opening
slightly
it.
Too tight.
But of course, she brings bolt cutters to the gate, so she knew what she was planning on doing, and has a phone at the ready to start filming, and cuts the gate 2 times in one day. The second time, Mr. Wolf went down to confront her about this. That is a reasonable action. It's also reasonable that someone would be incredibly frustrated when somebody is intentionally and maliciously damaging their property. It's also reasonable that he would film her doing that. Why are the parties doing it? Well, that's how they operate together. Miss, as we indicated in one of the police reports we filed, the officers have spoken to Miss Hamilton about sitting on the easement and filming my clients for no other person, no other
sit on my easement,
than to essentially create or try to videotape an incident, try to incite something.
I'm sure there are. With this courtroom, they don't show us any of the video evidence. They don't show us any of the pictures or anything. It's just something they don't do here, which is, I hate, because there's probably some really good stuff that we're missing out on.
That's why we submitted that. And that's exactly what she was trying to do here. And Mr. Wolf, Miss Hamilton claims that he called her a nasty bitch. The video that she submitted shows that he said she was a nasty woman. Obviously, both are insults, but they're singular incidences while he's watching somebody damage the property. And you know, obviously, regrettably, you'd hope that the parties don't even communicate,
If I may.
but
you may
almost unanimously think that this one's going to get granted.
That's
I kind of side with you guys on
It's
that.
kind of where we were leaning last week. So really nothing much changing on that. We'll find out though.
it's not harassment. And during that incident, he's looked to be 30 to 40 feet away from her. He's not approaching her. He's not aggressing on her. He's not even shouting at her. He's just angry that his property is being damaged, something that she is doing. We question her credibility because, again, she said, well, I was pinned in. But you look at the video she submitted, she's not. The tractor is completely off the road. She's not pinned in. And then she tried to clarify, well, she meant she was being confronted, so she felt pinned in. Well, that's pretty intentional language she used. You know, that it just wasn't true. And again, going back to those other police reports we submitted, that's one of our issues, is that she keeps bringing these things up, but she knows police told her something else. She knows they investigated, but she still puts it in here as if she's being harassed. And that seems to show just an unwillingness to accept truth, that they're not focused on her. You know, their world doesn't revolve around harassing or attempting to, you know, somehow sneakily harass Ashley Hamilton. That's something she's inventing in her own mind. Your Honor, these real estate issues, which really amount to the majority of what she's filed, and it continues just in closing today, she mentions the gate in the road. You know, if she wants to try to litigate those again up in a proper court, you know, more power to her. Issues probably res judicata, but they are not proper here before this court. My clients utilize lawful purpose in all they've done. Lawful purpose in installing speed slowing devices, lawful purpose in installing a gate. There was some argument she made before she cut off that.
She brought it
Is there
against
an
the wall.
explanation why?
Yeah, she's in the courtroom. Again, I find it really weird that we claim that this gate that is right up against where the easement and her property start and stop is supposed to be protecting the old people's property, even though they're claiming, well, it's not locked. Okay, still, what's it protecting at that point? To me, it's just a point of being a nuisance to her, making her have to get out of her car, undo it, get back
and also
in.
keep in mind, we haven't talked about there was a strange moment. Remember about the zip ties.
Mm-hmm.
The zip ties. Remember how we were talking about where the zip ties were actually, I think that it was alleged that the zip ties were holding the fence.
Yes.
But then we found out that allegedly they were just like looped. So that
they almost made like a fake chain out of zip ties.
Yeah.
And
so
then
not necessarily all, remember that too.
Not all around the pole. Like we got to cut them together, but we had made makeshift chain out of them.
To hold the gate, basically, not to lock it. That was an interesting moment between that. But also, wasn't there a moment where we kind of caught red face down there in a lie, or was it her about they went back on about the speeding, or said that they didn't say anything about the speeding, even though they went on a tangent for like 20 minutes about something too. That's why we were siding more with the younger lady there that's bringing this.
And they were concerned about their horses getting COPD. Remember?
Yes, yeah, because of the because of the dust, of course. Yes. Mikey, can you meet at the Magic Johnson statue in Florida? Yes.
I think that's a good idea. That's probably where we should meet up. Such a well-known landmark there. Six will be standing somewhere asking where it's at. Where are you?
Why you would put a chain in there, an unlock chain, rather than just have like kind of a latch?
Oh, good point. Why don't we have just a latch instead of a chain? Thank you, Judge.
And open the gate and then close it.
If the parties could talk reasonably, I'm sure that's something but the gate itself came.
Is there any explanation why they did it that way? Because I'll tell you how it looks to me.
Well, the gate came with a chain.
I'll tell you how it looks to me, then you can
Free
respond. I'm
chain.
sorry, and I maybe have cut you off, but, well, actually, go ahead. I'll reserve my, till you're done, when you're done.
Sure. And if you have questions about that, you can ask my clients, but the
Chris?
gate came with a chain attached to it. And so they used the chain to just essentially wrap to keep the gate from coming open. The complaint from Ms. Hamilton was that wrap was essentially too tight, but it was not locked. She was not being kept from the premises. I have not seen it personally. Maybe they could utilize a better system.
Maybe.
Regardless.
Maybe.
But again, they have a right, and some argument was made that, well, why do they have a gate down on my easement road and not at their house? Well, that area of the property is further away from their house, and they have a right to protect that. That's very routine, not unique for somebody to have a gate on an area that they're not frequently on or not frequently utilizing. They don't speed up their driveway or have problems with people speeding up to the drive right at their house, or dust issues there, and they're there in the home. So I don't see any oddity in having a gate in a more remote area of your property versus your direct home access. That's really all I have. I see this more as an annoyance for Ms. Hamilton that she's trying to color as sort of a harassment issue. I understand, that attempting to go through somebody else's property when there's speed calming devices and things there, that can be, frustrating or maybe annoying, but it is not harassment directed at her. Again, sorry.
Said you just said it's that activity that's been taking place from your clients. You said you understand how that would be frustrating and annoying to someone who has to deal with that.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Am I audible to you?
Agree that their activity.
Did you hear that, Creed?
You are audible to us, yes?
Go ahead.
Would be annoying to Ms. Hamilton.
Yeah, when I go to drop my kids off at school and I have to go over the little
I'm
speed.
so sorry. Am I audible to you?
Again, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is that our office lady that works here? Is that our Debbie?
I gotta show you something really cool. Look at that. Look at and he, Mr. Dumb. And
Judge Dumb, everybody.
He wrote out his own nameplate. Poor guy.
Good for him.
Sorry, we hadn't seen him in a while. I don't know who that is. Apparently an interpreter, I guess.
Why is she butting in our case?
Hello, you get gift cards. Target gift cards. You got them?
We'll send you a 3D printer. All you have to do is talk about it on your show.
Can you hear that, Your Honor?
Okay, I do. And so we're going to stop you there, Mr. Drury, because that's a language line, Spanish interpreter.
And through the magic of television, we're going to jump past this lady interpreting for this other lady. So we'll just come right back in right there.
Oh, Pass was put in
Okay.
timeout.
Entonces estaría libre para ir.
300 seconds?
Wow.
Gracias.
Who did it?
You're in
Thank you.
trouble.
Who did it?
Is there anything else I can assist you with?
And ma'am, you can free on the language line. You're free to leave also. Thank you for calling in. Oh, they're already gone. Okay.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you for
Drury,
calling. This is the
continue. I'm
Spanish
sorry.
interpreter Brenda, ID number 15497, signing off. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you again for calling in. Now, Mr. Drury, go ahead. Continue on.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think I was just closing with the fact that, there are items placed on easements or access points that can be, annoying to people. That does not mean that they are harassment. It may be annoying to have to get out of your car and open a gate. Well, that's a gate is a reasonable, not unique or unusual item placed at the end of a road to protect property. And again, the court already looked at this in Superior Court and allowed it, along with the speed measuring devices. I was saying that, speed bumps, yeah, they can be in general annoying, but that doesn't mean they're there to, harass somebody or put there to, make somebody's life a living hell in any stretch that it seems to make Miss Hamilton. These are reasonable items. My clients utilized a lawful purpose in doing so. And again, a court has already looked at that. Your Honor, we'd ask to dismiss both of these matters against my clients.
So this comes before the court on an anti-harassment petition. I can't remember whether I did it last week or not, but I'm going to read it now. Just a definition of harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such
Are you
persons
hearing this about the
and serves no
harassment,
legitimate or
Carol?
lawful
Carol,
purpose.
are you
The course of
listening?
Conduct must be such as would cause a
Carol just
reasonable
got that
person to
wrench
suffer
too, by the
substantial
way.
emotional distress. And much action.
Power's
must
gone through her
actually
head.
cause
Wanna make sure it
substantial
works.
Emotional distress to the petitioner. So Ms. Hamilton, this has been an
Very
ongoing
quickly,
thing here for a couple.
Michelle, I'm sure you were gifted one. You're probably on either just go to the other channel.
Whichever one you're on, go to the other one.
Yeah, go to the other one.
And somebody had wrote in the comments that said, I love Mikey and Creed. I thought we got a case was just going to be cases minus Mikey and Creed. Sorry, we're not doing that. We don't just upload videos. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and as you'll see with there'll be issues. You'll see why.
People that are doing that
You'll see
are going to get in trouble a lot, even if they have AI talking at the beginning. And the judge really hitting us with them big words.
What are you doing using your big school words? Just use normal people words and I'll understand what you're talking about.
And Pass, sorry about our Carol there. She's she needed to try out the new one.
Just get the lady out.
Apparently, it's been before this court before, although I don't think it was in front of me. Dealing with this issue of the easement of her being able to access her home over the easement over the Wolves property. And this isn't the only case on here this morning and that involves two.
By the way, did you notice what he just did? Their last name is Wolf. And when he talked about them as a plural, he called them wolves. I don't believe that's how that works, right? You can't pluralize somebody's last name, can you?
We've been calling them the Wolves, so I don't know. I guess it's all right.
The Wolves.
Two people who live together who can't get along for whatever reason, but I know it's frustrating. I think from petitioners from time to time is one thing, I can do a lot of things. I can keep people away from no contact orders, keep people coming from within 1,000 feet of someone's workplace, place of employment, or what have you. But what I can't do is turn bad neighbors into good ones. Just can't do that. And, when you look what's happened here, the things that Ms. Hamilton complains of, frankly, I'm pretty sympathetic to. One thing that Mr. Dury didn't reference was the 5-mile-an-hour speed limit issue, which is, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's silly. It's incredibly difficult to keep your car at 5 miles an hour or less. And that's not impossible, but it is very hard, and it's unenforceable. I mean, the Wolves don't have any ability to write tickets for going over 5 miles an hour or anything like that. So why would they even put that up there?
I wouldn't put it past them trying, though.
Wasn't referenced in Mr. Dury's. One of the stated purposes for the 5-mile-an-hour speed limit, as well as the speed bumps, which I haven't seen. I haven't been out there to look at them personally. There is the police officer who was there a couple of years ago, back in 2021. That's how long this has been going on. Said, well, his car bottomed out. Mr. Dury tells me, oh, they're just a couple of inches, just speed bumps, which occur in a lot of places in parking lots. So it's just no big deal. Again, I haven't been out there to see that. But the stated purpose for that was, again, not referenced in Mr. Dury's. Well, it causes dust to damage the horses. I don't know how many days a year around here, given the amount of rain, that dust is a problem, but it's not. And
there you go.
This easement, if I remember right, was a little over 200. It was 220 some feet, as I remember, which if you're going 10 miles an hour, might take you 20 seconds to get over. I don't think that cooks up. I'm not a veterinarian, but I tend to doubt that would be enough dust to cause damage or harm to horses at a different part of the.
Making good points.
at a different part of the property, as I understand it. Talk about the fence and, you know, again, I haven't seen this fence. I'm by no means a fence expert, although I have negotiated fences. It just doesn't make any sense to me why would someone would put a cumbersome chain or even leave a cumbersome chain around a fence where the wolves know Ms. Hamilton, every time she comes up to that fence, she's gonna have to get out of her car, go mess around with this chain, undo the fence, open the fence, go inside, get out, park the car or stop the car, get out again, come back, close the fence, mess around with a cumbersome chain to get the thing hooked back up and back up again. That's, yeah, that's just, that's a
By the way, I
pain.
would hate
It's
to
definitely a
stop,
pain. And I,
get out, even if it was latched, open it up, get back in, drive through it, come back, latch it. That would be really annoying. That
And then
part
drive
would
through
be-
trenches to get out of your own
Yeah.
place so you can go somewhere.
So far, are we surprised? I mean, I'm not. I think that
No.
I think that he's been
He's
very
hitting-
attentive and listened through this whole thing.
Every great point that we were all highlighting last week. So.
Except, and I feel as if we've breezed over this, and you guys in the chat down below said it a couple of times too about the ATVs going a million miles an hour, kicking up all of that dust. And I feel as if we kind of let that slide a little bit. I don't know why I feel like it has something to do with the wolves letting that fly, like they know those people, but I could be completely wrong. I just kind of feel that way. I don't know why. It feels like that it's like friends of theirs.
Oh, it's a double standard, 100%.
That's what that's how I took it the first time around, anyways.
And Attorney Drury, a huge Undertaker fan. Look, great impersonation.
Somebody had made a comment about him, like looking like he's annoyed, or a great spot to stop it, by the way. I love his look. This is the second time we've seen him now. Same attitude, same way, same. So I'm just guessing this is how he fights cases. It's just him. This is him, and that is his way of doing things. And he's got that. He's got a kind of a fatter Kyle Busch look to him. Whenever somebody asks him a question,
it's a good guy.
And like Mr. Dury, I agree with you. That would be annoying for someone and frustrating, which is probably why she's here. But, you know, when I go back to the harassment statute, when it serves, you talk about this activity that serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. You know, the wolves are smart enough to know they have something they can hang their hat on in terms of, well, we're putting this fence in because it's a security issue. It's arguable, but nonetheless, they have the right to do that. You know, speed bumps, they could, I guess, put speed bumps in there. And maybe if they're doing that not to code, I think I remember from the testimony last week that it was up to code. Again, I don't know. I'm not a code enforcer for speed bumps on private property over easements, but you know, I can't necessarily say that's completely unreasonable. But then again, the ultimate question is, I'm positioned to enter an order based on everything that's presented. And Ms. Hamilton, although I'm sympathetic to your position, I know it's a pain in the neck for you to get in and out and having to deal with all this. But you know, I just can't get there from here. I can't enter an order on this because
he just shot it down. He just said no.
After all those good points we all just made there, including you, Judge. What? How can you not get there?
I mean, I understand the judge was probably like, you know, slapping the wolves around a little bit, you know, like, hey, you're doing wrong. But now we've just gone and denied it. Really?
I can't
explain that, please, Judge.
Yeah, I need a little more on that, please.
I can't, you know, we can't be in a position where we're, you know, regulating the what they do with that easement. Mr. Drury is correct that this is a real estate, and if they're unduly or doing something inappropriate with that easement, then you know, that's an interest in real property, and that needs to be done in Superior Court. And I say, I'm sorry, but I just can't get there from here.
So
you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So the things that he's talking about with the speed bumps, the court ordered that they weren't supposed to alter it.
Okay.
And I went into a voluntary dismissal because it cost me.
I understand.
Yeah.
Litigation is expensive.
So it's more of that they're using it as a means to harass me, but they keep altering it. And then I've been driving over it just fine, but they're approaching me and they're cussing me out. They're pinning me, like having people approach me, their guests, so it's more of a safety hazard of getting out my vehicle, and now I'm being approached and my kids are right there and he's yelling and harassing me as I'm trying to get in and out of. It's not about the gate itself. I've been opening and closing that gate this whole entire time. I've rolled my ankle on it. I don't know how many times getting in and out that. That's
Just
not
wasting
what
your
it
time
is.
at this
The
point.
ultimate piece when you're talking about the mental state and the emotional state, those are the things that I'm presenting, is that if I get out of vehicle, I'm now putting myself in a harm's way where they're approaching me and they're yelling at me and they're intimidating, using intimidation tactics, and my kids are also present. And that's what was caught on the video, was he's literally watching me cut a gate to get out safely. And he's still, I didn't talk to him once. And he's still making threats at me and making comments at me.
So, ma'am, I understand where you're coming from, and I reviewed that tape and all of that. But again, I don't know why the wolves have chosen to live their lives this way. I really don't. And create these issues out here. But again, given it where it sits right now, I'm just not prepared to enter an order in this case.
So I do have a question.
Sure.
So the order that got put in place with their daughter.
With Superior, that's still, as far as I know, that's still in place.
Yes. So it's stated in there that she's not allowed to use third parties to communicate to me. So if the wolves continue to harass in those different sense, would that be considered a third party?
I'm really not in position to give you advice on that.
Okay.
Other than to say this, third party contact is the protected or the restrained person tells someone else, hey, go contact the protected person on my behalf. That's third party contact. I didn't really see where that really came up, but that's in the context of that case. If there's a violation of that order, that's handled by the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney.
Because the other thing is like my trash cans not being serviced because they're moving them. And when I'm sitting here calling the police to let them know that they're being thrown across the ground, they're being moved away from the end of the road. If I call and state that this is what's occurred, they go to approach Stacy first, and then the parents are the ones that state, no, we did it. So
taking the blame.
Those are the things that it's like, it's multiple things that are continually happening. It's not just the gate. And those are not speed bumps, they're trenches.
And again,
so I mean, I submitted video footage because there was video footage that Mr. Drury actually submitted and sent on Friday. I don't know if you had a chance to review it.
This Friday is in
this last Friday, he submitted
2
more
days ago?
evidence. Yeah.
Oh, I did not. No, I didn't go back and
if you actually look,
their attorney submitted new evidence Friday.
We didn't hear anything about that. Huh?
No, we didn't hear anything about it.
Well,
Why wasn't that brought up? I thought we had rested on evidence, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, that
is weird. Okay, let's see.
Maybe he didn't take it in though. You can submit whatever you want. Maybe you just didn't. He didn't bring it in or didn't touch it, possibly,
or know about it.
Look at that video. You can see they submitted my SUV coming down it, and it's not going that fast. But what you do see in the video is you can hear my vehicle hitting every single trench as it comes down. Each one of those. And so it's causing bodily harm and damage to my vehicle.
She should have had one.
But
she ran out of money.
First of all, I didn't see the video. I do go back and review all the files before the hearing, but we were done. I thought we were done last week, so I didn't look at this one. They were just arguing. So I didn't realize additional footage was submitted. So hang on just a second.
So he didn't.
The second thing is, if those are inappropriate, that's a real property dispute that I just can't. District court or limited jurisdiction courts, there are certain things I can and cannot do. And one of the things I can't do is, if there's an issue over someone's misusing or abusing the process on an easement, I just can't, I'm not allowed to do that here.
So in the videos that I also submitted that were submitted Thursday night, because he had sent that video of
when did you submit new videos also? Okay,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
they both submitted new evidence
last week.
Can you pause that for just a quick second? I don't know if we want to jump or not, but
Uh-oh. I don't like it when Creed says that. Oh my God! How many thousands of miles away are we from?
I know. I think they're shooting it from South Carolina to L.A.
Oh my gosh!
Sure, but
back, but the people in the carpool lane were able to get by. And then that's when the driver almost went into the carpool lane. So it is going to be a real problem for people who are trying to commute on the southbound 110 if they're not in the carpool lane. But you can see even there on the left, they're still kind of
I don't know what
moving along there on the left. Or is
it's kind of it's a slow one. I know
as well.
Just started.
What they did, Philip, is they ran a traffic break, sort of a small one, so that when they threw the spike strip out, you saw the officer run. They were able to stop all traffic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It almost looks like it's at the end, right?
And so traffic
it
is
really
slow on the
does.
110 southbound closer to the downtown Los Angeles areas.
Back tires coming apart.
But now it's in the carpool lane.
Let's just watch this out. We'll finish up with that. I think that's
there's traffic backed up behind this, but they're not going to let anybody get up to that vehicle. They're going to make sure nobody gets that far. It was completely stopped for a moment. Now the freeway is doing about 17 miles an hour, as you can see here, the traffic. I think our angle is such we're not going to get a really good, accurate real-time speed tracker there because we're shooting from such a far distance and pushing the shot. But certainly you see what they're doing with traffic.
Oh, look at warming up the tires.
So we'll be affected,
yeah, just like NASCAR, man.
Absolutely.
Keep the temperature
well,
up.
This is possibly the best case scenario. For the commute, if this person stays over in the carpool lane, instead of coming back over to the main area, once they secure him and take him into custody, they'll be able to let traffic go. But now, he just continues to gum up the whole thing.
Oh, it's going to
correct.
start
But, CHP, if this turns out that they get them into custody very quickly, they're really good about that. They'll just get the vehicle behind it with a bar, and they'll push them to the shoulder. They're really conscientious about trying to get traffic moving.
They will.
Obviously, if this doesn't end peacefully, that's a whole different story. Traffic will be snarled up for hours.
I mean, why are we not kind of pushing them over right now? Then
we'll just have to see. We saw a moment of doubt there just a few moments ago. The vehicle decided to stop.
90% of the time, do they not hang back and just wait for it to end?
They're not going to be able to continue too much further. Well, I shouldn't say that because sometimes at the slow rate of speed, you don't get the damage to the rims and the tires that or to the rims that you normally would at a higher speed, and it could go on for a while. But hopefully, this individual, if there's just a man on board, we thought it was a man, will come to their senses and realize they're not getting away and just give up here, and then they can clear the freeway.
They just don't in California.
And so for those of you just joining us, this started in Burbank. But Scott, do you know when this slow speed pursuit started?
I would say it was about 30, 35 minutes ago, maybe 40, somewhere in that range. Because the time we picked it up, it was on the 101. Or the 170 South or on the Ventura, right in that area we started to hear the calls. And we believe it started in Burbank with Burbank PD, so it was more than likely initially on the surface streets. They switched it off to CHP, or LAPD picked it up, I guess, with their helicopter, and then they converted it over or gave it over to CHP. Open up out of the shot a little bit. It's kind of an interesting perspective here. So all the vehicles now on the bottom of your screen, that's the 110 southbound. CHP is not letting anybody go by, so they're running a traffic break there. And as we open up a little bit to the north, you see there's no traffic whatsoever. You'll see the PD helicopter on the top of your screen there, I think, for a moment in an orbit. And you could see they're probably going to shut down some of the on-ramps to the 110 southbound as well. So hopefully for traffic's sake, this will be over sometime soon. It looks like we may have seen the arm back out again.
Oh,
nope.
And just lost a piece
of the tire.
The tire.
Surprise there.
Yeah, we certainly hope that they can stop. But it's just interesting. This is a very different pursuit from some of the others we've seen. We believe that this person may be under the influence of something, but also perhaps in distress. We just don't know. I want to give the driver the benefit of the doubt. I mean, although you would think that they would have stopped by now.
You would think. The hazard lights are on, which is a little unusual. We saw that initially. I'm not sure if they're still on. It's hard to see in this shot, but you could tell that he's losing control of the vehicle there, with the two left tires had popped, and they'll be on the rim pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's just really tough to tell. Right now, what's good about this pursuit, if anything can be good about a pursuit, is the fact that it's really not endangering anybody. It doesn't appear that anyone will get
just
hurt.
Saw some sparks there.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It came off the right side. Maybe there's a lot going on that.
Well, you can see you may not
Yeah,
be able
did you
to see
that?
it from
It was-
your
It almost
monitor,
looked like the
but
car
that tire on the
backfired.
front, it's almost completely off. Clearly, you can see the back rear tire is flat, but it's still, the rubber is still on the wheel. The front tire, it's almost moving back and forth. So, but it's going to heat up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it almost looked like a pop came out to me on the right side. I figured it'd be on the left side.
There was.
But with the two left tires flat, yeah, you can tell it's going to be on the rim pretty soon. And now limping off to the shoulder here, it looks like coming up, I believe Manchester might be the next off ramp, or we just crossed that. And off to the right shoulder, this would be the best case scenario. But they're not going to open the freeway here until they have this suspect in custody.
Wait, what?
Really have no idea.
What?
That vehicle stalled out, blocked them in.
I
and you see all
think
the
that's
patrol
really
cars
black
behind
and
him. So
red,
it gets
Chris.
dicey right here. They don't know if this individual's armed.
Thank you, too much.
And
just boxed
things
himself
can
in.
turn ugly very quickly if the suspect does not comply and make sudden moves. So be very careful, Chad, when the door opens on this vehicle. But hopefully, for traffic's sake, and we don't know, there might be another person on board that vehicle. We just don't know for sure. But hopefully, be able to get this individual into custody without incident. Open the freeway back up.
Yeah, and it seems that the Kia is close enough to that parked car, the Mercedes, that it won't be able to drive off again without hitting it. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's pretty close.
Worst case scenario, though, the Kia backs up.
That's true.
Police do not like it when the vehicle's coming at them, and we've seen vehicles get shot at when they do that. So at this point in time, CHP is just trying to do everything they can do to try and get this individual out of the vehicle without incident, okay?
Come on, you can do it.
It's a tough situation. They don't know who's in that vehicle. They don't
that
know
Benz is up on blocks.
if that individual's armed. And with that, they have to protect themselves and the public. And this is just a situation. It can be very dicey. Unfortunately, sometimes these standoffs go on for hours. That would be horrible if that happens here on the 110 freeway.
We don't need anything getting dicey
today. On the 110 freeway, I believe this is right before Century, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and one thing
no traffic's getting by.
One thing to think about with that, Scott, depending on how long this goes, people who are watching this need to be aware. Take a different route to the airport. Because if you have to go to the Everett and you normally take the 110, do not do that right now. Go navigate around it, go to the 405, go a different route, but do not end up on the 110 because this can play out for a very long time. There have been times this is, a long playing incident.
Yeah.
And for the 110 freeway, to the west, you've got Figueroa, and to the east, you got Broadway. They're major north-south thoroughfares, and they're going to be much better than the freeway. There's no question about that. You don't want to get on the freeway at all. But we do have a couple of alternate surface streets that work pretty good when this happens, both Figueroa and Broadway. But this could go on for a long time. We understand they're trying to talk to them on the PA. They're trying to get them to come out of the vehicle. But if they don't, then it's hard to say exactly how they'll handle this. Sometimes we see them walk up and break a window and throw in tear gas or a gas canister. It's just hard to say how it would play out.
After we wait
You
hours
can see
and
the
hours for
officer
the
in
RAV4
the white vehicle there to the left. He's got the looks like he's got the bullhorn there. That's what was that Dodge Charger? One of the. You don't usually want to see one of those in your rearview mirror.
Oh wow!
But,
he just pulled his arm.
And you don't notice them until the last minute.
Exactly.
They do have their
Chad, give me
drawn.
Yeah. Of course they do. They don't know if the suspect's armed. Give me a wide shot. I just want to give the folks an idea why you don't want to get on the 110. Now it's effective.
Sir, can you go ahead and get out of the car? We're trying to fill in this case over here.
It's human nature, you can't not look for the most part.
Thank you.
But southbound one.
Let's do this. I promise you, I am watching this. If anything happens, we will jump right back to it.
I didn't look at the evidence in this case. I'd already looked for it in preparation for a week ago. I had no idea that additional things were going to be submitted. So I didn't look. And that would have been nice information to know before we got started here today. But
because inside that video, there's a video of Mr. Wolf on his tractor digging the trenches even deeper, and he's sitting there laughing, and they're recording me the whole time.
So
that's good evidence, but
I don't know if it's enough though.
No.
Again, it goes back to real property or wherever he was saying, and he's superior court.
I can present more evidence of everything. I mean, there's multiple times that they've videotaped to me.
The evidence.
There's.
Hang on just a second, ma'am.
Look at him rubbing his forehead.
I'll look at here's what's going to happen. All right, we'll go ahead and reset it here for a week so I can look at this and figure it out. And if I would have liked to have heard that there was additional evidence for me to review before I
Look at
started
the
all
attorney.
this, but
Look at
I
the
didn't see
attorney's
any of
face.
that. But I don't know that it's going to change anything, ma'am, because again, if there's inappropriate behavior on that, they're misusing the easement or something like that, that's got to be handled in Superior Court, not here. It just does. I can't do anything about that.
So
But I'll look at it if you want me to look at it, and yeah, we'll check back in a week and see where we're at.
so if
Mr. Dury, did you submitted something on Friday? Is that correct?
Well, Your Honor, we began argument last week where Miss Hamilton was able to begin.
Real quick, they are moving in towards the Kia and actually might be doing something here.
They've got some inside information. Maybe they talked to someone who knows this individual, and because of that,
I give them credit. We don't see that very often.
No, they typically just wait and wait and wait.
Weapon. It
Yeah.
seems like they might know something. I agree with you.
And if they have had a chance to talk to him, or her, there is the possibility that they might have.
This is pretty
know
rare.
whether, as Giovanna mentioned, the person is under distress or possibly under the influence of something. But now
Or
they
a
have
melon alert,
approached
maybe?
the windows very aggressively. In comparison to, when I say aggressively, I mean without the typical protections
now
that
they're putting-
sometimes we'll see. But they're trying to break a window, it looks like,
Yeah, and
and
they're putting-
get this person out.
Yeah, they're putting their guns away.
Yeah.
So obviously they're seeing something.
Yeah, I agree. I think they know a lot more than we do. They can see now how many people are on board. I think we can push it a little bit. We're always hesitant to push in too much because if it ends in a gun battle, we just don't want to show that.
Oh, wow.
And,
Oh, wow.
they're going to break that
They're
back
trying to get
window.
in.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a gas canister and they're going to throw that in, or they just want to open up that back door, or even the driver's side door.
Looks
and
like they're
just
opening the
get this person
passenger
out.
side.
This could be a,
Yeah.
not to speak too soon, but this could be a rescue operation. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah,
Lots of
no, what are
families,
you saying?
Been kidnapped in that back seat. We don't know. There may
Or
be
the
more
person
people
could
in
have
there.
harmed themselves. I mean, at this point, we don't know anything other than it does seem as if they are trying to get into the vehicle, and it doesn't appear as if they're worried about their own safety.
They're trying to get
Now we're
someone
just maybe this person has moved into the passenger side seat,
maybe
and they
they're
are just going
maybe
to
they're
get this over
resisting.
with.
Yep, they're pulling the
Yeah,
person
they're
out.
resisting.
Okay.
It looks like they felt it was easier to take.
It's a wild
take them
Werman.
out. Yeah, boy, that's
She's
sad.
not
I hate to
well.
see
All
this.
right,
You know,
so I
obviously
guess
she does not look well.
They figured out it was a mentally.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Giovanna, it
Guessing so.
appears that they're not well. So, I mean, mental health issues could be at
mental
play
health
here.
issue and,
I hate to see this. This, once again,
Must
is on
have
the
figured she
110
was unarmed.
southbound before you get to Century in South Los
Hate to
Angeles.
see
All
this.
lanes of the harbor
What,
side
a
have been
peaceful
blocked.
ending to
Pursuit
this?
went on for maybe
Oh, I
30,
got
40
hurt.
minutes out of Burbank onto the 101 freeway and then ended here. CHP will clear this very quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty rare. We don't see that. So they must have figured what is laying on the.
But the incident is over.
What is that?
It looks like they're going to get this individual the medical attention they need.
Orange
after an ambulance
juice?
has been called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're right.
Orange top on it?
No one's been hurt, and they cleared it very.
Oh, he just
quickly,
kicked it, so it must not be important.
Yeah, they will.
I guess
So now
not.
the person will be.
She's barefoot
Ugh.
and wearing Victoria's Secret shorts.
Sure is. All right,
Safe and
guys.
sound.
That's that. Let's finish up court.
Let's get back to that and knock that out,
To
shall
know
we?
that, because I didn't think to go back and look and see if anybody had submitted anything. I assumed we were done.
Well,
And
I wasn't
so-
going to bring it up because I thought the evidence phase had been completed. You know,
I wasn't
Well,
gonna
it
bring
had
it up.
been, but then you did. But yeah, all right.
The attorney opened that door when he
I
submitted
guess
stuff.
we'll reconvene in a week then, and then we'll
Good
see where
point.
we're at.
Yeah.
And there won't. I'm just going to look at the video and then see if that affects anything. I said what I was going to do,
Right.
and I'll look at it to see if that changes anything. I tend to
Okay.
doubt it, but I'll give you a chance to look at it.
I had submitted a whole bunch of evidence, but the pictures of things, they said because they were not downloaded as a PDF. So I don't know exactly.
Does she have
pictures-wise,
Polaroids?
So can I print those out and bring those back this week?
No, ma'am.
Sorry.
No. Mm-mm.
It's just, it's more of,
You know, I mean, everything is.
it's more of the safety of getting
Oh,
out of
boy.
vehicle and somebody
No,
coming
ma'am,
at you.
I'm just, you know, there's a process we follow when we go through these cases. And that is people get their stuff together, they come to court and they present, and then I make a decision. And I would have made a decision last week, and then that would have been the end of it. And but the technological thing, and when a decision's been made, you can't submit a bunch of stuff. You know, all that stuff, frankly, should have been done beforehand. And I don't know who submitted the first evidence following the hearing last week. I don't know if that's even important, but anyway, that's what. Or I guess the alternative would be is I'm going to take up these other cases, and then come back and then give me a chance to see this. All right, give me a minute here.
He's frustrated.
Yeah, he's very frustrated.
And I get it. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. I believe that the Wolves have not done anything serious enough that would constitute maybe them getting that.
You submitted a
They
video
did
on the 10th, correct?
It was
Or someone,
late,
Exhibit F.
late
Who did it first?
Thursday night because I received something from the jury in the mail on Thursday during the day. And then on Friday, I got a USB from him in the mail also.
And then you responded to that?
Yeah. So based on the stuff he submitted, I went and I started going back through because I didn't have a chance to submit everything.
So he did it first.
The day that I came in. And I thought I had enough, but I didn't realize that a lot of the PDFs didn't upload with the court systems. The pictures that I had sent, the way the formatting was, none of the pictures were being sent in. I got emails later that stated that they couldn't upload it. It had to be sent as a different type of attachment.
Remember, her husband left her during COVID. Good God.
God, hello.
But I went in and I found the video because it was shortly after Stacy had made the threat that
They were working for Shaw.
the trenches weren't deep enough the first time. So let me get in my tractor and go back and dig them deeper. And so then
Who's out there with the rake and the vest?
There's a picture. I don't know.
Who
which
wears
one
watching
it's
it
at, but
now?
There's a picture of
Yeah, he's
Martha
watching it.
digging up the trenches with a rake.
Yeah, that's
And
who that
then
is.
there's also the boyfriend of Stacy.
I know. Can you
and
pause
then
just for a
also
second? I just want to finish my say since he's watching this at the moment. I just want to say this very quickly because we've seen this before in other cases where you need some solid evidence. You need somebody to have done something bad enough, right? Even though we've got tons of stuff allegedly that these old folks did, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a bunch of little stuff that is not illegal, that is not against the law, that is not that maybe a pain in the ass, and they're being extra. But as a judge, do you need enough? Do you legit need something to pin them on, if you will? Or can you, as a judge, take 100 different things that these people have done, and they're downright just being nasty? It's pretty obvious.
Oh yeah,
is that enough for him to? Because again, we need to remember these protection orders. They're serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are serious stuff. When you put this, when you're at this point, it's a serious thing. We see so many of them, and we sometimes, I think, breeze by the fact that having one of those against you, being a part of that, is a very big deal. But I wonder if you could take all of that little petty stuff that they've done and kind of make that into one thing in order to rule on that, or if a judge legit needs something. In a a lot of them that we see where with the jilted lovers or with family members, there needs to be some sort of, let's say, big event that happened. Typically,
this is more of them just being petty about everything and trying to manipulate the system enough so that they can annoy this poor lady, maybe into selling her property, moving, whatever. We don't know. Maybe they want her land. I don't know. Maybe they're mad at her for moving there in the first place. It seems like there's a lot of family around there, not really a bunch of outsiders. They know everybody.
True. But I think that's why the judge is going that way. But I give him credit, and I guess we're looking at the video now, which is kind of, I I almost would, just because I feel as if we're going to be right back here again with more.
Something's going to happen. Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Something definitely is going to happen. It's going to blow up. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
But great video of them all out there raking it and making it bigger, like they're a road crew.
I mean, if it's true, they're out there laughing while making the trenches bigger. They're speed humps, whatever they called them. I forget. Speed pillows.
Steve Winford.
Ron. So when I go out there, it's always like a swarm of them because it's like 4 to 1.
Swarming.
And then if they have any of their friends or anybody else, then it's
swarming.
That's right. Speed cushions.
Cushioning.
they dig them up or they fill them up or whatever, depending on how deep they want to get them. And then it's not something that stays the same size because with erosion, with weather and whatever.
Just be quiet now.
Finally, he said that what everybody's been saying in the chat, just please be quiet, ma'am.
Ma'am, please stop talking.
You said it nice.
Look at his face, though. He looks like he wants to laugh.
Right. So if you take what Kay's saying there. Interesting. I think that she has spent a lot of money already.
$10,000 taking them to Superior Court.
So she's basically spent all that she could. That's why she's. But I agree. I said that earlier too. I kind of wish that she had a lawyer in this. Do it all over.
Mr. Jury, you submitted a video of, and again, it's labeled Ashley driving through speed cushions. Is that correct?
Cushions.
I think so, Your Honor.
And then in response, there's the videos where you said of the, there's people out there. I see there's a, I don't know what you would call it, but a dirt mover of some sort. And then someone with a rake. How far away is this from their house, Mr. Jury? This easement away from the Wolves' house?
How would you far
Is it on
away?
the other end of the property?
Yes.
He don't know. He ain't ever been out there.
Like 200-300 feet, Your Honor.
He doesn't shoot pool with them in the
You don't
barn.
have horses that all have COPD.
I don't understand.
Couldn't we just put masks on the horses?
Understand.
Can we just show the video of the ATV and it be Bradley Drury on there going 100 miles an hour?
Jumping stuff.
I
The
reviewed
Miller
the
highlight in
videos.
his hand going, yeah! I did it.
And again, this just is messing around with an easement, and that's an interest in real property. And I don't understand it. I'm not sure why the Wolves are so obsessed with that. And looking at that,
there it is.
that easement, there's gravel there where I don't know what the triggering event here was, whether it was that confrontation you had with the younger, the daughter a couple of years ago, or turned
Baby
everything
Wolf.
bad, but like I say, if they're messing around with the easement, that's an interest in real property, and that's just not something I can address here. And so I'm not going to enter an order, and that'll be my final decision on this.
Doubling down.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Doubling down on that.
We're upset. I'm not going to hide it. We're not happy that it went that way. I don't think anyone's a fan of the Wolves.
No, I think there's enough. I think there's enough there. But again, like I said, that's why I asked about that. I'm no judge.
I mean, he kept saying annoying, and every time he said the word annoying, I'm like, okay, well, that's going to fall under the parameters of the harassment and annoyance.
This second half of this, he kind of said a lot of things that we have about Wolves. I mean,
he doesn't like them either. Let's go ahead and say it.
That's why I feel as if there's something holding him back. Like there's just not a one. I don't know.
I think he keeps telling her, look, take this back to court, but in the right court, and maybe you can win. But it's just not going to happen here. Not today. No.
And I am a bit sympathetic with them with the horses. Like I do understand that. And I could imagine taking care of horses is not an easy thing. But at the same time, we might need to, if that is that big of a deal, then maybe we need to move the horses over on another side of the property. Didn't they say they had a crap load of property, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, tons of land. Tons.
I feel that way too. I'm wondering what is, and again, it sounded like that video that he just watched was not that flattering for the Wolves either. I think if anything, it helped her case a little bit more, and he still doubled down on it. Didn't you? Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sad day.
And can she even do anything past this? I don't know. It's not going to stop. Now they've gotten away with. They went to court. Everything's fine. They can continue building their trenches and whatever they did.
It might be time to sell, Creed, if possible. I mean, I know this was her and her husband's dream, but I mean, he's gone now, so it's okay to move back to where he came from.
He did mention that it's kind of out of his wheelhouse parts of that. Sue, we got to see Sue. That was the whole reason why that was up there. And Judge Dumb there today with his handwritten sign. Somebody give a nice sign, would you please?
Well, that's it for today's We Got a Case. Don't forget 405 over on Credence and Mikey, and on We Got a Chase. Those are our other 2 YouTube channels, depending on where you're watching from. We'll be doing We Got a Chase. And I will let you know now, I'm promising a tasing today. Everybody's huge fans of tasing. Well, you're getting one today, so make sure you're there for that. And members only at 5:30 over on We Got a Chase, your Chase exclusive channel.
Oh, good timing, guys, in the truck with the
I hit the post and everything.
Yeah, that was like straight up radio stuff there. Great job. Mount Joy Express today. Gary, thank you. Leather and Lashes, Jim, Shelley, Wenlaw, Deborah, Rachel, Flusha, Deborah again. Or the other Deborah.
Other Debras.
We have a lot of Debras around here. Mayor, Fred Franklin, Michael, Flusha, Big Show, and
Big Jono.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate each and every one of you. That case, I'm so glad we got to see the end, even though it didn't quite go the way we thought it was going to go. I'm glad we got to see it. So good job on that.
As you're running for the door, make sure you hit the old like button. We appreciate that. We'll be back at this case stuff again tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Hope to see you there. We love you. Top Guys out. I've got a cold.
Oh, you poor thing. I hope it's not the diabetes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not that. It could turn to bronchitis.